Alright, so boom, welcome, brother. Welcome back to another installment of Edutainment.
Do it. You scrolled on this video to do it.
So, I want you to understand, and I want you to reflect upon why it is you wanted to quit in the first place. Oftentimes, what I found for myself, and just some people from comments that I've read, and people who are in the Marijuana Complete Guide program, shameless plug, is that they forget the reason they wanted to quit in the first place. You forget the withdrawal symptoms you experienced when you were quitting, and the whole premise that led you to even find this video to begin with.
What was the reason? I had a reason. What was the reason? What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
I don't need to explain myself to you. And
what was the reason?
Why did you want to quit in the first place? This is something that you should be looking upon. You should be looking at on a daily or bi-weekly basis, every other day pretty much. Because what happens when we start having some success in our addiction recovery process is we forget the negatives associated with weed. It's kind of like a relationship, right? Once it's over, you tend to forget the toxicity of that relationship, and you only remember the good moments or the awesome sex experiences or the awesome the way that he or she made you feel. You only really remember the good moments. You don't really remember or take into account that they were always late, that they were unreliable, that they were irresponsible. You just remember, oh, we always had awesome sex or stuff like that. And likewise, when it comes to your weed addiction, you need to physically write out why it is you want to quit in the first place. Or the initial reason, was it because you were spending too much money on weed? Was it because it was holding you back from making more money? Was it because you were unable to reach your fitness goals because you were always high, and as a result you were always content with how your body was already looking, or you were kind of lazy, stuff like that? Why is it that you want to quit in the first place? This is something you don't just quit just for the sake of quitting. You need to take in a physical accountability and account of the reason, of the thing, that moment that made you quit.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
For me, when I struggle with pornography addiction a lot, I actually made a video about it. My erectile dysfunction story. I had a situation where I legit couldn't get my dick up because I was so desensitized to pornography, to sex, right? And as a result, when you're always watching porn and you're desensitized to it, actual sex, you don't feel much. And especially if you're wearing a condom. Let's not even talk about going raw. But if you're wearing a condom and you're trying to smash and enjoy it and feel it, if you've never had sex without a condom, don't ever start. Because once you start, you will never want to go back. I promise you that. That's a side note. But anytime I want to go back and watch porn and go to all these sites, I remember my dysfunction story, my erectile dysfunction incident. Not only was it with a girl that I thought was, average looking, maybe like a 6, 7, but it also happened with a girl that I thought was like a solid 9, like almost pretty much a 10 in my eyes, if you include personality. So it's like, there's nothing more embarrassing for a man anyways than not being able to get it up or not being able to perform in the bedroom. And likewise, when it comes to your weed addiction, what was the moment, that snap decision or that, breaking point that made you go on YouTube, find videos like these, or made you want to try and quit on your own and deal with the withdrawal symptoms? You remember the insomnia, the lack of appetite, the inability to eat well, and irritability and being anxious and having a short temper. All this arises when you quit. Do you really want to go back to that? Write down the reason that made you quit, that breaking point, and write down how you felt when you were going through the weed withdrawal symptoms. These two things will make a big impact in terms of how successful you are in your recovery process and how likely you are to go back and smoke or eat edibles or whatever, consume some type of weed, right? Doing these things, like physically, action step. This is an action step, okay? What you're doing right now is very passive. Yeah, passive. So in order to make this video actually actionable and impact you, once this video is done, literally take down notes. Why did you want to quit? And as you're going through the withdrawal symptoms, just write it in your phone as well. How do you feel as you are unable to sleep? How do you feel that you can't eat right now, right? Stuff like that. And one powerful like mantra, however you say it, to deal with the thoughts of, you know, smoking weed and consuming weed is to not focus on the actual weed. What do I mean by that? Don't say, oh, I'm not gonna smoke weed, or I don't want to smoke weed, because you're still telling your brain and you're still focusing on weed. You're mentioning weed, and as a result, that's what your brain is gonna focus on. So rather than doing that, what you should say is, I'd rather not spend money. I'd rather go to the gym. I'd rather go for a walk. I'd rather drink water. I'd rather breathe in fresh air. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus completely, so heartily on the outcome that you do want.
Worry about yourself, worry about your career, worry about your life, worry about being creative, worry about growing, worry about being young, worry about being healthy, bitch. You're perfect. Look at you, bitch. Look at that.
Straight up, no capping whatsoever. And put your reason for quitting and how you feel as you're going through the weed withdrawal symptoms on a poster or on your mirror in front of your door, like your personal door, wherever you can see it on a daily basis to remind you. Because once you start having success and you are going, maybe you're a week into it, 2 weeks, 30 days, you start feeling invincible, you know? Like it's common nature, right? To start feeling like, oh, I got this shit on lockdown.
Oh no, an army. It's okay, guys. I got a grenade. I got this covered.
But we get complacent and we get lost in the sauce of our actual capabilities. And you start putting yourself in situations where it's easy to relapse, right? You start, maybe before you weren't hanging around your weed smoking friends. Now you're hanging around with them again. And although they may not pressure you, just the act of seeing them and seeing them smoke can trigger you. So keep your reason for quitting, keep how you feel during the withdrawal symptoms in a place where you can see it on a daily basis. This will remind you of the negatives associated with your weed use and how it's affected your life as well, right? Not only will you remember the nostalgic moments, the high moments, the euphoric moments of smoking, but you'll also remember the negatives associated with that as well. So don't get lost in the sauce. Remember why you started. Remember how it's affecting you. Usually, like I always say, like, weed is not the problem. The weed is not the problem. It's just you and I, people that abuse things. Porn, in my case, I've really seen no positives to porn per se, but definitely. Yeah, my phone cut off. Been making bare videos today. But yeah, essentially, so, you know, remember why you quit. Remember the feeling you felt. And remember also where you're trying to go to, right? Where is it that weed was holding you back? Your fitness goals, your financial goals. And have that picture, the picture of the present and the picture of the past in mind whenever the thoughts, the cravings arise to quit. And also remember the mantras. Don't focus on the weed. Focus on the outcome. I'd rather be fit. I'd rather be healthy. I'd rather have money in my bank account. Stuff like that. And having this mindset and this thinking will keep you and help you refrain yourself from relapsing and going back to smoking weed and getting high and stuff like that. Some people can go back and smoke responsibly, but oftentimes if you really abused it, you can no longer have a healthy relationship with weed going forward. So that's just something to think about. But yeah, God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste. Resources to quit and to also take a tolerance break are in the description of this video. As always, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much of any good thing is good for nothing. Or whatever you're watching, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're eating, because our diet is more than just what we eat. It's everything that we consume. Alright, bro. Deuces.
I think I get it, you ain't have to say it, let me finish, now I understand it. Wish I was around more, wishing I was down for some downtime. Girl, I am, but I'm about mine. You would love me less if I would drop it all to see you. Wouldn't undress if I